What's going on, folks? Your boy again, Dr. Town is back in the building with the Be More Today show. We are back. We are back. We are back in the building, folks. We are in the month of June, and it is gorgeous outside. And the Be More Today show continues to be the show you want to listen to for all things about being more today, being more in 24. And today we continue our Run Club series. It's been great. So many great run clubs in the NYC area have been featured on the show, and today is no different. But before I get into that, Be More Today, as you know, is a movement. We've been doing great things all year, trying to be more in 24. From my book, which you already know, which is on Amazon, to our Steps of Greatness Challenge, which continues to go out there. Now you can sign up for our July Summer Challenge, which starts July 1st. Registration is actually open right now. If you want to sign up and join us, you can join us for our Steps Challenge. 10,000 steps for 40 days. So 400,000 steps for 40 days. It's been a great way to just keep moving forward, a great way to remember to keep your body moving. So if you want to join us for that thing, please be able to go on there and do that. And as you already know, Be More Today show continues to grow, now heard in 82 countries, over 61,000 downloads. Again, thanks to love and support. This show continues to move and grow, making people get better and to continue to be better in their everyday lives. So our quote for today is simple as always, by Alicia Davis. She says, "You've got to consistently push past what you think you can do, or you'll end up staying stuck where you are." Folks, this has been a year, as I always say, of trials and tribulations or challenges for us to go through. And one of the things that I found about running, and I'll probably talk a little bit about more of that today, is that running brings out the best in us. Whether you've been a spectator on the side, just watching a race, or you've been someone who's been in a race or continues to use races as their inspiration to keep moving forward, it's that thing that keeps pushing us forward. And with running, there's a finish line. You cannot stay where you are. If you stay where you are, you're never going to finish the race. And I found myself so many times this year wanting to give up in races. When I ran London this year, there was a moment in my life where I felt like, why am I doing this again? Right? And it's usually around like mile 20, mile 22, where you're like, yo, I could have made other decisions in my life, but I chose to be here. I paid to be here. We traveled to be here, all these different things. And there's a moment where you just want to give up. But then you realize there are people who are cheering for you, the people who supported you. For this year, people supported me financially for a fundraiser for Sense. So there were so many people who backed me and were like, yo, you have to get this done. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to keep moving. For the NYC half this year, and even the Brooklyn half this year, when I actually got hurt during the race, I had a blister that started at mile 4. It burst at mile 8. And there were so many times where I was like, yo, I can stop at any given time. There's no one who's pressing me to do this. I'm not being paid to do this thing. But there is this small thing in us that says you have to push past those things to not be stuck. And when you finish these things, go to these races, you go to these challenges, and you're being the more of yourself, right? The best version of yourself in that moment. You see how great the human body is. You see how great resilience can really be. And you can apply that to your everyday lives. And my guest on the show today has been doing this thing for a long time, also trying to inspire others to be the best version of themselves in the running community. And his name is Mike. They call him MCK, Mike the Korican, as some of you may know him. And he is the lead coach for Global Running Crew, also a USATF coach, just like me. And he's also inspiring others to be the best versions of themselves. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pets included, please welcome to the stage my guest for this week's show, my new friend, Mike the Korican, MCK. MCK, what is going on? Welcome to the Be More Today show. How are you doing today?
Doing good, my brother. What's good, man? Everything's, I can't complain. I woke up another day. I'm alive. Every day you wake up and you get to open your eyes and see a sunrise is a beautiful day, man. So I'm happy to be here. Happy to be on a show. Happy to be talking to you guys. It's always an honor to be on a show like this and, being part of the community and talking to all the folks that are trying to do the same thing I've been trying to do for a lot of years, just motivate and inspire people to be healthier, live a better lifestyle, and just be the better selves, a better version of themselves. So this is really cool, man. Happy to be on today.
Awesome. Listen, I looked at your social media pages, your personal one and the Global Running Crew one, and I could not help but realize that you and I share the same thing, trying to make people be the best version of themselves. And I'm curious for you, sir, what inspired this mantra? What inspired this push to help others just be the best version of themselves?
I I grew up a poor kid. As you know, when you come in from some of those environments, you're always just thinking about how do I do better? How can I get out? What can I do? And then when you start to climb out, and a lot of times in these environments, it's like crabs in a barrel. When one starts to climb out, other ones try to grab you and pull you down. And to me, as I started to break away and get out of that barrel, I would always think back like, all right, how could I help people do more with themselves and help them find a way to get out? And a lot of it is really through sports, and that saved me for a lot of my life because I had some good coaches back when I was young. I never forget this guy, Christopher Llewellyn. He was a fire chief at a military ocean terminal in a place called Bayonne, New Jersey. And this guy, took us all under his wing. We used to do Olympic weightlifting with him. So it wasn't even related to running. I wasn't even a runner. But the things that he taught us about, just help the teammates, help everybody around you. This guy used to make us get out in the rain. If he saw somebody with a flat tire, and make us get out the car and change their flat tire for them, and then get back in the car and keep going. Wow. So when you got someone like that, you kind of start to feel that, and you start to understand like what it is to get out there and try to help the community. And we did a lot of community fundraisers and things like that. So being parts of teams and coaching teams and things like that has really shown me the way of being a part of a bigger thing other than just myself, and supporting people that are like in baseball. You're up to bat, everybody's cheering on and singing a chant, hey, let's go batter, batter, batter. That kind of stuff just stayed with me. And so as I got into more and more things as I got older, whether it's just regular fitness or even in work, whatever it is, it didn't matter to me. If you wanted to learn something from me, I was open about it. Like, yeah, I can teach you. What do you want to know? As long as you're putting the time in, you're not wasting my time, I'm happy to give you some time, because that's the one thing you can't get back, right? Think about it. I could give you everything in the world. I give you a car, I could give you money, everything. You could always just go get another one. But if I give you my time, I can never get it back. So for me, it's got to be like, all right, it's got to be worth it. You got to be willing to put your time in, just like I am. So if I give you my time, I'm very happy to give you some and make you a better person. And if that's what it is, and you can come back to me in a year and say, man, thanks for that. And that to me is all the reward in itself. I don't need anything else from anybody. Like that right there tells me what I did was worthwhile. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's the most fulfilling thing, is knowing that you're able to do something to help somebody, and you made a difference in their life or their family's life, and you change an outcome that potentially could have been something different for the better. And to me, that's always been something I like doing.
I love it. I love it. Again, right in line with what I love to do and love to live my life as well. Just trying to share knowledge and experience with others so they can be the best version of themselves every single day. And yeah, people want to do that, but again, giving it to people who don't appreciate the time, no, never a good thing. When people really appreciate who you and what you're doing and who you are, then they excel, then they get better. And I see you've applied that to your own personal life and also to this running club, Global Running Crew. Talk to you about Global Running Crew. How old is the club, and what are you guys about?
So, this club, we started about a year ago. People's like, oh, you guys are brand new. Like, oh, you guys just started running together. Like, well, sort of. I've been running with people on this team since 2018, 2019, 2020. So most of the people on the team that I've been running with, all the core has been for 3, 4, 5 years at least. Some of them even longer, close to the 6. Some people are new, but when it came to it last year, they were like, listen, I really have been talking about and throwing the idea about maybe putting a team together. Like, if you put the team together, we'll all come and we'll all run with you, and we'll get the team going. So I did it. It was really a collective thought of a few people that kind of pushed me to really do it. And I was like, you know what, let's do it. And then we did it. We put the team together, and we've got probably 25-ish runners now, depending. We've been just growing. People just been coming to us. They see what we do. They see the energy. We're out there in the community all the time in community runs. And it's just been growing and getting more and more viral. It's just the energy that we bring to the table with everybody when they're out with us. They're like, man, you guys just bring a whole lot of energy. I'm like, that's the purpose. It's the idea behind it is the teamwork. I push teamwork for everything on this squad. Whether I got something scheduled or not on the calendar, I tell people, in the chat groups that I put together for the team, ask every day, who's running today? Ask for a partner to come out. Build yourself accountability to each other. No one's going to make you go outside and do it. But if you got a partner that's pulling you, you're always going to want to be like, I can't let my partner down, right? So that's the thing we try to build up with everybody. every new runner that comes in, we tell them the same thing. We encourage them to invite people to run, ask who's running, see who lives closer to, because we're in New York and New Jersey, and we're spread out through those two areas. And I try to bring people together in New York, and I try to bring them together in Jersey, so we can do both places. And it's all about community, you know. For us, it's all about community. Invite other runners. I'll do collab runs with other run clubs. Like, hey, you got a couple runners? I got a couple. I got 3-4 today. You got 3-4. Let's make it an 8 today. Let's go do that. And it's so much fun when you do that. Now, when you see them in a race, you're like, oh, what's up? Like, hey, yeah, remember that run we had? Yeah, it was great. And then, you just start building more and more like that. Now you start building friendships. Now you start building connections, and then you start networking. And it's all about the network. The bigger your network is, the more access you have to other things that you may not have had access to. So that's what I mean about the community, is being able to get access to people and being able to, meet more and more folks that, you never know what someone could bring to the table for you. And, when you join community like that, it's community always takes care of the community. It'll come back to you. So to me, teamwork and community is like the best thing for us. And that's what we try to push everybody towards.
Yep. Yep. Mike, you're speaking my language, bro. I'm all about it. And, I met you through my co-founder of Spartan City Running Club, our club, Ishmael Torres, who is, as you know, from Puerto Rico. And I never thought I'd meet another prouder Puerto Rican in my life until I met you. He started talking about you automatically, and I knew as soon as he said it, I said, Ishmael, you've been trumped. There's someone who is more proud of Puerto Rico than you are in this world. So I got to give a shout out to Puerto Rico because you're on the pod, and I got to ask you about where your family's from, because again, they call you MCK, but they call you, Mike the Korican. So I'm curious how this thing came about. And I'm curious why you've used this in so many ways to attach yourself to home and to here. Why Mike the Puerto Rican, Mike the Korean?
So it was just it was kind of just like a funny thing at one point, right? Because I'm half Korean, half Puerto Rican. So we were like, oh, you're a Korican. Like, I would just joke around like that. And then people were like, oh, that's Mike the Korican, because people was like, well, what is he? Is he Korean? Is he Puerto Rican? So I was like, yeah, but I'm Korican. I'm in the middle, man. So it was just a funny thing. And then people just started saying it's Mike the Korican. So then, as I was never into social media or any of that stuff, I kind of stayed away from all that. And when I started doing a lot of charity runs and things like that, one of my teams was only really on social media. It was their real main form of communication. So I did it, and I created that name, and that became my thing. It was, Mike Korican on IG, right? And then it kind of stuck. It just kind of became like a thing, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger with that. And then next thing you know, it became MTK. People were saying it for short, and then that just kind of became my name. They're like, yo, and I'd be in runs, and they'd be like, yo, MTK. Like, I was like, oh, okay, what's up? I kind of like this. I was like, you know what, let's use it. So it's stuck, and I've been using MTK now, like on all my brands, all my sponsorships, everything that comes through is MTK lines, and it's been pretty cool. It's been interesting to see. New York Road Runners did an article on me one time for Hispanic Heritage Month. And it was me when I was running for Michelob Ultra, and it's me and my Michelob, with MTK on it. And it was so cool to see. And people were like, wow, like, you're actually starting to make some headway with this stuff. I'm like, yeah, you got to promote this. Let's just promote the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I was really doing a lot with, promoting Puerto Rican runners. My dad's from, his family's from Puerto Rico. My grandmother was born there. My grandfather was born there. And so for me, just being able to relate to one of my roots, my mom's family is all in Korea. So not easily as accessible, but growing up here in the States, there's a lot more of the Puerto Rican culture around where I'm at and kind of how I grew up. So for me, it was important to be able to really show that and bring some attention to it, because while there's a lot of runners in the world, there's a small amount of minority runners that are in the running community. We're actually a really small number out of the millions of people that run. We're a small percentage. If we're 14%, I think the last time I checked the stats, like total is small. Right. I'm like, man, there's nobody really promoting Puerto Rico. World Majors at one point had 0 Puerto Ricans. There was nothing, wasn't even listed. So, I started soliciting for activity around Puerto Rico, like getting Puerto Rico listed. And I wanted Puerto Rican runners to be able to show that and be a part of that they could have their country or their islands on the wall of fame, as you know, right, for 6 hours world, the World Majors. And that's kind of like what we were doing. So we're like, how do we do more of that? And it became a real big thing for me. Like, you'll see me a lot of times run with my Puerto Rico flag. It was a big thing for me to be part of the opening ceremonies for, New York City and have a flag there. I was with your partner there, right? We were together there. So it's been big for me to be able to do that and promote it, and it's tough because when you half of anything, there's always that other side of it where people are like, oh, well, you're really not Puerto Rican. It's like, you're a half Puerto Rican or you're a half a Korean. You like, so you deal with the other side of it, and but you gotta have tough skin and take it and still promote. And, people that, commend a lot of people, when they're doing it and they stay strong to it. That's how you build community. If you falter and fall down, then people don't give you the support. You have to stay with it and really just keep promoting it. But that's kind of where that came from. And I stay strong to it. I bring my flag everywhere. You've probably seen a lot of my posts where all these big races in other countries, I set up a flag day. And every time I do a big race, I set up a flag day. And the flag day is anybody from any country can show up, bring your country flag, and we celebrate your country. We celebrate your colors. We celebrate your flag, no matter where you're from. I don't care because I don't discriminate you. I want you to come out. I want you to be proud of where you're from. And then I do one, my last one is always going to be just my Puerto Ricans because I got to give love to my people. So, they all know they coming, so they know what's up with that. And then, so that's how we do that, and it's all about trying to bring the people together because, again, if you're in these major races, like you talked about running in London, I was just in London too right there, and you meet so many international runners, and then you meet these people, and then next thing you make a connect with them. Now you got a friend in Switzerland, you got a friend from Germany, you got a friend from Africa, you got a friend from, it could be Colombia, wherever, and now you know somebody. And now when you're at these other places, like, hey, what's up? Like, so to me, that's just like, wow, that's so cool. I always find that to be amazing. And then you introduce them to the rest of your team, and now they got a friend, and it's just, yeah, for me, that's what I like about it. And that's why this whole name thing, like, became what it is. And it just kind of spiraled into what you got today. And it's been a pretty cool process.
Yeah, that's incredible. As I told you a little earlier, I have one other friend that I've known in the world named MCK, also a friend of mine, also a runner. And, the fact that your name is out there like that and you're bringing people together across all communities is beautiful. It's exactly what I believe the running culture is supposed to be about, right? Bringing people together from various places, various backgrounds, no matter how fast you are or slow you are, just coming together and getting that thing done. And you've been doing that, Mike. And I really just want to say thank you and appreciate you and your run club for doing that thing consistently. And you're like us, I love the small run crews because there's a certain amount of or a certain level of authenticity that comes with that. It's really family oriented. It's really family based. And it's not about frills. It's not about anything, show. It's really about connecting in community. And that is the beauty, I think, of the running community and the running clubs in general, especially in New York City. So I got to salute you and your crew for doing that. You're doing a great job. And
thank you.
My question for you now is, as we've talked about the run crews in New York, there's so many. And yes, the representation, as you noticed, and as you said, is low, right? Your family is from Korea and Puerto Rico. When it comes to running, those two places aren't the biggest numbers of people. We talk about people who are doing running communities in New York City, but you're now helping to bring those numbers up, right? Not just in New York, but across the world. And, our crew is also diverse in the sense of we're very Afro-Caribbean based. We have more females than males, but even in those numbers, talking about minorities, our numbers have not been compared to other groups as big. So we're definitely infusing now a new culture, especially in New York City, for people just to go out there and put their feet out there in shoes and to be healthier when it comes to the running community. What has made the global running crew successful over the short span of time? Because again, you said you guys started recently, but you've done so much. What's made you so successful in the community over the last couple of years?
What it is that everybody that's on the team is genuine. We don't just let anybody on the team. I got to talk to the person. I got to know the person. They got to be referenced to me somehow. If it's a random person that comes and asks, hey, can I join your team? Like, okay, well, let me know who you know. Let me see who they know. Do a little investigation on them a little bit. I want to make sure the person coming in is really true to what we're trying to do. Right? They're part of their community, because maybe you live in another area that we're not a part of yet. But if you're in your own community and kind of pushing the same ideas that we are, if you're participating in stuff, we can see that you have the right energy. We really don't want to bring anybody to the table that's negative, right? Because that's the first thing that you try to avoid, is bring negative energy to your team. So we're trying to bring people that are going to be positive, that can get along with everyone else on the team. When we might invite them out to a couple runs and a few things like that with people, just to see how they interact and do that kind of stuff. And that's where we see them. And so every person on the team is really involved in the neighborhoods. We got people from the Bronx, people in Queens, people in Manhattan, different parts of Jersey. but we know they're involved in their communities. You know, a lot of the folks on the team are, you know, their parents. They have their own kids. They have things that they're trying to take care of. So it just fits with what we're doing. They have that same busy lifestyle. They know what it is to be working a full-time job, being able to try to fit your training. Because, you know, when you got a job and a kid, you're trying to fit training anywhere you can. So all those things are like, you know, common denominators for us. And it just makes us meld together as one melting pot. And it helps us when we're bringing other folks in, even if they're not a parent, but they can understand and they see our kids. We bring our kids to the event. Our kids are part of the running events. Our kids are parts of swim teams and different things. And we encourage everyone on their team, on our team rather, to do the same for their children and everybody else. So everyone we meet has to be that way. If they're not, they can't really be part of our crew because you don't follow what we do. And if that's not what you like, then there's 300 crews in New York. You can find one that fits you. You know, and that's how we treat it. We're not going to bend what we do, make the exception for somebody who thinks there's a superstar. There's no superstar on our team. I mean, we have a lot of people on our team that are six-star finishers. I mean, all homegrown. You know, we've all been chasing them down and doing these you know, the star chasing for some time. And we've all been helping each other over the years behind the scenes before we even started the team together. You know, we were already doing it. So, you know, all these guys are willing to help you figure out how to get on to these races, how to get in, what some of the shortcuts are, what are travel tips, all that stuff. So that's what we're looking for, and that's how we do, and that's why everybody is doing well, is because they're not selfish. They're all about trying to help the next person, and you know that's really been what's growing our team and attracting a lot of good talent to the squad.
I love it, Mike. I love the culture. I love the family aspect of it. I love the fact that it's not competitive, but it is competitive, right? Everyone's trying to be better, but it's not about bringing somebody down in the process. It's not about trying to make somebody have to be higher or lower so that someone else can excel and exceed. It's about teamwork. It's about effort. And I love that. And again, I completely agree with what you're saying and love the culture of what it seems like the club is doing. And I know you're sponsored by a couple of different businesses, and I love that too, because it lets me know that you're being watched and they're recognizing your greatness for that as well. And you know, one of the questions I had for you, and this is the question that I answered for some of my own patients and even runners, but I want to hear from your perspective, is that it's easy to kind of get into a club, right? You find a club and you're doing stuff and it's great, but sometimes you get jaded. Sometimes things get hard. Like you said, family gets in the way, work gets in the way, life gets in the way, life be life, and sometimes, right? And just sometimes it's hard to stay consistent when it comes to this running thing. You may do it for a year, but then to do it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even chasing down this Abbott 6 thing, which so many of us are trying to do, right? And the dedication and the consistency it comes with that to train for these things, cycle after cycle after cycle, people become jaded. Some people get hurt, some people get frustrated. And I'm curious for you, sir, what are some of the things, even maybe just one thing that you share advice wise with your runners when it comes to staying motivated to run, whether it means to run a 5K or just to keep running on your own training wise, or to get through another marathon cycle? What do you give marathon wise or even running wise, motivation wise, to your runners to keep pushing and to keep running when it feels like they want to give up?
You know, people think it's me that's driving all that on the team, and honestly, it's not even just me. The whole team does it. Like every day, somebody makes a post and says, "Hey, I got my 5 miles in today. Hey, I got my 3 miles today. Hey, I just ate some hills for breakfast." And you're like, "Man, I gotta get some miles now." Like, you're already out there. It's 6 o'clock. You know, you see a post at 6 in the morning, and somebody say, "I just ate some hills for breakfast." You're like, "Man, I gotta get up." Right? So it's not even just me doing it, it's the whole squad. So when people ask like, what am I doing to motivate you? It's like, hey, they see me out there, you know, running these races, running Abbott's, running, you know, and I'm doing a fair amount of races a year. Like if I just took 2024 spring season, I already did, you know, I'm pretty much done already with my 9+1, right? I did the Fred Lebow, I did all the other races, I did Tokyo, I went and did Boston, I did the New York City half, I went and ran London, came back, did Brooklyn half, did the Atlantic City half in 8K. So they just see me being consistent doing it. I don't even have to tell them anything at this point, because they're just like, yo, coach is out there running. He's out there, he's at another race. I'm like, who's running with me? That's all I say. Who's running with me?
Yeah.
And then they're like, look at me like, man, you just ran like 9 races. I'm on 1. They're like, all right, everybody sign up. So, it's not even just saying it, it's just showing your consistency yourself. And people see that and they're just like, man, I gotta be more consistent. Then they come to me and ask, all right, what races can we do? And then I'll just have a different chat group. I'll come to races and I'll post the races. I'm like, who's in what race? Next thing you know, everybody's signing up like, all right, I got it. And then, and then everybody shows up and then you tell them, all right, who's cheering? If you're not running, who's cheering? And then you get people out there to support, because then then they catch the buzz, right? That's the FOMO piece,
Yep.
right? Like, oh man, I should have ran this race. Like, I'm here cheering, but I should have ran it. And next thing you know, like, now, when you see the runners come by and you get the pick, they get the hugs, you get the high fives, you're like, oh man, I got to do this on the next one because I want to get the cheers and I want the hugs and the high five. And so that's how we do it. We're not even just like me pushing myself. It's everybody on the team is doing it. Like, oh, I love you, Mom. Let's go. That's my girl right there. Or, hey, that's my dude. That's my guy. Let's go. And they pull him into a race with them. And now, if I go to his home, man, I know you don't want to do that race with me, right? So you're going to run me in 2 weeks? And you're like, no, I'm not running. I'm like, come on, man. You know you're going to do that run with me, right? Well, you can't be missing this run, right? And then that's it. That's what they do. And they pull each other in now.
Yeah.
And now they're pulling their spouses in. They're pulling their cousins in. They're pulling their neighbors in. And that's how we grew it. And that's how we do it. My guy was here, and then his wife came to a dinner. We were just celebrating spring races, and I was like, guys, bring your medals. And she saw the 6-all medals and people coming out their medals. She's like, I want one of those.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm joining tonight. She joined right down the spot. Right down the spot. But see, that's the energy, man. It's not even like forcing people to come in. It's showing them the consistency. They see those medals. They know you had to run and complete the race to get it.
Yeah.
So they know when you got 3, 4, 5, 6 medals like that, you consistently run. They're like, I want to be like that. I want to be able to run that many races.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's just showing them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love how infectious it is. And I love the FOMO. My wife is FOMO queen. There are so many times where she's like, oh, people are signing up. I want to sign up. Wait, you haven't even trained for it. What are you talking about? I'll get ready. I'll sign up. I got to be a part of this. There's a certain amount of FOMO that is, it's beneficial, I think, sometimes to get people to be able to move. But yeah, it's a real thing. And yeah, that's when you know that the culture for a club is organic and is genuine. When literally it's that family dynamic that comes in and everyone pushes each other to do the next thing, to get over the fear, to get over the worry, and say, let's do this collectively as a team. I love it. And yeah, I do the same thing for my crew too, as Ishmael and I do for our people. The FOMO is real. It's a real thing. But
it is, man.
So many people have done so many great things because they didn't want to miss out. And like you said, you never know. That's how you bring other people from families and friends to cousins and uncles. Just by sharing what you're doing, they want to be a part of that thing. So it's great. It's great. And
it's
Takai,
really
what else
cool,
are you
man.
trying to do to be more in 24? But you're doing so much already. So what else do you have in store for this year, either personally or for the club, to be more in 2024?
Really, I mean, from the club perspective, we're still growing. We're still taking people in. We'll probably continue to grow this out to a certain number. I don't want to be, and we don't want to be, this ginormous club that where you show up, you don't know the people you're standing with. We like to know everybody on the squad. We like to know who people are. So I purposely hold different sessions, different like gatherings, get-togethers, medal celebrations, race celebrations, purposely so that people could come and see each other, make sure they know who their teammates are, make sure everybody that's running, because you're not going to see somebody from the team every time there's a race for every single practice or whatever, right? So there might be sometimes you don't see somebody for a month or 2 months, but you see them in the chat. So at least when you see them in the chat, you know who their face is, you know who they are, you know that this person's got a wife, they got a kid, they got something, right? So it gives you that personal feel, that family feel. So we're going to continue to grow that this year. We're looking to be more in the community. So I also run with Achilles. If you're familiar with Achilles, I do a lot of guiding for AWD runners, been doing it for many years. Someone very close to me was involved in that as an athlete. So that's how I first learned about it. He was a hand cyclist. And that's what I used to go try to help with the hand cyclist. And then I started then, all right, let me guide this 10K runner. All right, let me guide this guy in the marathon who's missing a leg or an arm or doesn't see properly. And then, I started doing more here in Jersey with that. And, I'm getting my team involved in that where I'm like, guys, we're going to volunteer for a couple of these races together. And, I want you guys to be guides so you can see what it is when that person gets to the finish line and they look at you and they thank you. because there's no way they can do this race without you. It's impossible for somebody sometimes to be able to do that. Maybe
Right.
because if they're blind, they can't see. They need you to guide, and you got to tether with them, right? Or they need two guys because they're missing one leg, and you gotta block and tackle people out from boxing them in so they don't get hit and fall down. So this stuff for them is like, wow, I want to, you know what? That's really cool, coach. I want to do that too. And I'm like getting my team more involved in those kind of things. We got people that are parts of, NYPD. So there's someone in my group who's always cheering and say, hey, come support our police officers. So some of those guys are brothers, cousins, uncles, someone's dad. So we're pushing that part of the community. So that's what we're doing this year. It's just finding more ways. How can we participate in the community and be a part of more of those things? And being guides and helping out and supporting local, police departments, fire departments, things like that, is a big part of what we like to do.
MCK, I love it. You are clearly being more today in so many ways. And yeah, you giving back to people who can't run on their own, right? Like you said, they can't do it without you. As someone who's a physical therapist, my main thing is seeing people who want to get back to doing those things, right? Either they are physically impaired by some kind of issue or ailment, or yes, they come in with other issues and they need someone to help them get to the next level because they want to get back to doing whatever, running, walking, jogging. So for you to take that next step, right, and take them now onto a course where they would have never been able to do that, that's incredible. And I love the fact that you've done it and now you're inspiring others to get that same experience, to feel what it feels like to have somebody cross the line and say, thank you, I couldn't have done it without you. So that's incredible. You're definitely sharing the Be More Today brand and the Be More Today mantra across all platforms. So I gotta salute you, Coach. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Job. Listen, if runners want to reach out to you, they want to join the Global Running Crew, how would they do that? How can they get in contact with you and find out when you guys practice, how to sign up, all those different details? What should they do?
Yeah, they can hit me up on my personal IG. It's Mike the Korican. When they see me there, they can GM me there. They can do it also from the Global Running Crew IG page as well. Both I answer to all of those. So a lot of folks will hit me up on both sides because they kind of know like it's one and the same for a lot of these folks. So I'm happy to do it either way. All they gotta do is DM, message me, find out what it is. Some people know me personally. They'll call me and say, hey, listen, I know somebody that's looking for a run crew. And, they're looking for a crew like you guys, and they'll introduce us and get the reference that way. But I'm happy to talk to people anytime when they see me out in the streets in New York. Like I was out there yesterday running, ran into a bunch of people just on the West Side Highway. I'm like, oh man, all these people that I knew, I had no idea. I was like, they was running on the West Side, but I was just out there just getting a couple miles with a few friends, and they're like, man, all these people. I'm like, yeah, because I run a lot in the city. When you start running, there's 300 run crews at least, and I probably run with probably 50 to 100 of them by now over the years. And you start to meet those people, and then they'll say, oh, if you need a coach, go talk to this guy. If you need this, so anything they need, I'm always open. They can always reach me on any of those pages. They're always free to message me, and I'll always respond to people. Maybe not always like right away. They might give me, 24 hours to get back, but just depending on my day. But I certainly always try to get back to everybody and try to see what they need. And I got people messaging me for all kind of stuff. So happy to help out there too.
I love it, Mike. You've been doing great work. And again, thank you so much for being on this show. You've made this one for the books, and folks, Global Running Crew is out there. They are amazing. Mike, what days do you guys practice?
Generally, we're out there usually on Tuesdays. I do a lot of stuff in CP. I'm in Central Park a lot on Tuesdays. Most times I'm working with people, giving them some hill work, teaching them how to run up and down hills. Because, people want to know how to do it. I'm like, yeah, there's actually a way you're supposed to run up a hill and down a hill, and a lot of people don't know that. So that's how they injure themselves. So I do a lot of hill training there on Tuesdays. Sometimes we'll just do some other runs, and then every other week we try to get a long run in as much as possible. And over the summer, I'll definitely be doing more. I got a few things lined up for the summer where I'll be doing some food runs where we get together, we start in one spot. We're going to pick out some good local eateries and then run to the eatery, get some food, and kind of make it a social thing towards the end. So that way, after you burn up some calories, you can take some food in and get some time to talk to some folks and just kind of hang out, relax, and just have a good night and chill. And that's going to be the summer event. That'll be my summer lineups coming up real soon.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to that. And just give the people your social media handles so they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, so my IG is Mike_the_Korican. So Mike the Korican, and the Global Running Crew is just the Global Running Crew. You'll find both of them on IG. the easiest way to get us. And the crew is always out there, and you can always contact someone else on the crew as well, because you'll see them all the time. The posts are always about the crew and it's everything that they do. So everything you see them doing out there is just them. That's the vibe, that's the community piece of it. You can always find us on IG and always find us outside in a race. There's always one of us running, so we're always around.
Awesome. MTK, I appreciate you from one coach to another. Thank you so much for making the time today. And I look forward to seeing you at another race very, very soon. Thank you so much for making the time. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure and wonderful just being a part of what you guys do, and just the camaraderie of what we got, and seeing each other the races with the high fives, and just the support, man. It's been great. Thank you guys very much.
No problem. No problem. Folks, he said so many poignant things today. I mean, he's a super humble guy, and I really appreciate that. But again, the big thing is community and the family. And if you're looking for a local club, Bob Run Crew is that crew to join. He gave you the hashtags for the handles for IG. Go up there, check him out. He's doing amazing work in the community, and that's what we all should be doing, helping others to be the best version of themselves every single day. Don't forget a quote from today, folks, by Alicia Davis. You've got to consistently push past what you think you can do, and you'll end up staying stuck where you are. Mike is not doing that. He's pushing people every single day further and further and further. No one is stuck on his team, and no one should be stuck on our teams as well, and our teams in life. So go out there, join the Run Crew. And again, to all the crews who are out there, thank you for putting New York City back on the map and keeping people great during this time, coming out of COVID, and just helping us all to be more in 24. We'll see you next week for another show. Until then, peace.